Welcome to the 10th and final explainer in our series, Why You Do This and Don't Realize It. Today, we are diving into a habit that is, well, just so incredibly common, reaching for your phone the second life gets overwhelming. We're going to look at the real reason this happens and why it's so easy to trick ourselves into thinking that scrolling is the same as resting.
Let's just start right here. Does this sound familiar? It's that moment, after a super long day, or maybe you're just standing in the kitchen and you don't know what to do next. You weren't really looking for anything specific. You were just looking for an escape. But that feeling of relief, it just never really shows up. So what is actually happening in that moment? Okay, first, let's break down what I like to call the numbing scroll cycle. And hey, just so we're clear, this is not about making you feel guilty about screen time. Not at all. It's about really understanding that impulse to use your phone as an emotional escape hatch and why that plan so often backfires and leaves us feeling, well, worse. What's so wild about this is how normal it all feels when it starts. It just begins with this feeling of being overwhelmed or kind of drained. You might not even know what to call it, just this vague sense of unease. You just know you don't want to feel it. So you grab your phone, just for a sec. But that 1 second turns into a spiral, and the result is almost always the same. You put it down feeling disconnected, not refreshed.
And here is the absolute key. We have to see this for what it really is. What we call chilling out or zoning out is a lot of the time just a coping mechanism wearing a clever disguise. It's avoidance. And just recognizing that, just seeing it, that's the first huge step to breaking the cycle.
All right, now let's get to the core psychological reason this habit is so sticky. It's a really subtle but incredibly important distinction, and it explains why that urge to scroll can feel almost magnetic, especially when we're feeling stressed out.
And this is it. This is the whole thing. So much of our scrolling has nothing to do with genuine interest. It's an automatic attempt to regulate how we feel inside, to kind of change the channel on our emotions without actually having to sit with them. The real question isn't what you're scrolling for, it's what you're scrolling away from.
This makes the difference so clear. Seeking pleasure is intentional. You want to watch that specific recipe video or check out your friend's pictures from their trip. But seeking regulation? That's reactive. The second you get a stressful email, your hand is already reaching for the phone before you even have a conscious thought. It's a learned reflex, not a real choice.
In those moments, the phone just offers the easiest exit door. It's an instant distraction from whatever it is you're feeling. And this is why we talk about doom scrolling making you feel numb. The goal isn't actually to feel good, it's just to feel less. And when you're totally overwhelmed, feeling less can sound pretty good.
So what's the real price we're paying for this habit? I promise you, it is not just about wasted time. The hidden cost is way deeper, and it all comes from this confusion between being distracted and being truly recovered.
This right here gets to the heart of it all. Being occupied is not the same thing as being restored. It's just not. After an hour of scrolling, your mind isn't rested. It's just been busy. You haven't recovered from the day's stress. You've just hit pause on it while throwing a bunch of new noise in. Think of it this way. Scrolling is like stuffing more and more papers into a filing cabinet that's already overflowing. Real rest is taking a minute to actually sort through them.
And here's the real kicker. It often makes things worse. Research shows that when we doom scroll, we don't just put off dealing with our original stress, we often pile new tension right on top of it. You start scrolling to avoid thinking about a work deadline, and you end up reading about some horrible global crisis. Your nervous system doesn't really know the difference, and it leaves you even more wired than when you started.
You can see how this habit has these real compounding costs. It slowly chips away at the things you need to build the life you actually want. Your attention, your focus, your ability to just be present. When we're constantly numbing ourselves out, we put off the hard stuff, and we lose the energy we need for real growth.
Okay, so how do we fix this? Let's talk about how to get our attention back. The good news is, this isn't about some heroic act of willpower or a dramatic digital detox. It's about building awareness and just creating a different option for yourself in those split-second moments. These 3 steps are so practical. First, just notice the urge. That tiny little pause, it's everything. Second, ask yourself, am I choosing this or am I just trying to run away from an uncomfortable feeling? And third, create a tiny replacement. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Stretch for 30 seconds, look out the window, take a sip of water. The goal is just to create another choice, to prove to yourself that the phone is not your only option. If you take just one thing away from this whole explainer, please let it be this question. Asking yourself honestly and without judging, what am I trying not to feel right now? It can be a total game changer. It just interrupts that automatic pilot and brings a little bit of awareness back into the room. It makes the unconscious conscious.
So for our last section, let's zoom all the way out. Because the real solution here isn't just about managing your apps. It's about the really fundamental practice of learning how to just be with yourself, especially when it's hard.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Real, lasting peace isn't found by constantly running away from yourself. It's built, moment by moment, by learning how to stay, gently and with intention, when things get uncomfortable. And that's where real resilience and trust in yourself are born.
So here's the bottom line. Your attention is the currency you use to build your life. Every single time it gets swallowed up by an automatic escape, the future you say you want gets delayed by another moment of pretty unsatisfying relief. Once you really get the stakes, it's a lot harder to just dismiss this habit as no big deal.
And so this is where we end our series on this question. Look, the goal isn't to demonize your phone. The goal is to stop needing it as an escape from yourself. Because when your attention is no longer a refugee from your own life, it can finally start building it. What could you create then? That's the thought I really want to leave you with. Thank you so much for joining us.